Hassel here, co-host of the Nerdy Man Room Show. We proudly present to you Man Room Shorts. Your discretion is advised.
We'll go ahead and kick off with this and talk about what we do have. And for the month of January, we've got first thing we had on our list was Peacemaker. Starts on HBO Max on January 13th. So this one is a streaming show. I gotta be honest, I haven't really read much of it other than what I've seen commercials of. And obviously I didn't read the commercials, but yeah, I've seen commercials for the show. And after watching John Cena's performance in the Suicide Squad, this looks extremely hilarious with enough
Did you
violence
see where
to
he
make
said
it
that
seem
this was
realistic.
you could watch this with the family? I'm like, nothing
No,
about your character tells me I can watch this with my family.
no, and this does not fit the original Peacemaker character because the original Peacemaker character hated to actually use the violence. He only did it when he had to. This is a more modern take on it, which is how they're playing him in the comics. Now what's he say? I'll kill every man, woman, and child to get the peace we deserve.
Yeah.
So it's a much more gritty take, but it looks hilarious, man. I
The,
gotta say,
the beach full of dicks was the one that got me. It's like, ooh, you're serious about this, buddy?
yeah, I gotta say I'm looking forward to that one. I'm really ready to watch it just for the comedic factor. I don't think it's going to be the best or the most serious superhero thing we see this year, but it's probably going to be one of the funniest, if not the funniest, out of the year.
I think it'll be a fun little watch every week. Are they hour long increments? Is that what they were going with?
Yeah, most of the stuff I'm seeing is like 45 minutes to an hour. Not every episode is going to be the same length, I'm sure. Just like everything else they're doing. Just like
It'll
Boba
be a
Fett is
fun
like
little
48,
watch.
49 minutes.
Yeah.
The next one we had was actually a movie, and so I've been saving this shirt, this Morbius shirt, until we got to watch the movie and got to go over it. I've had this thing for like 2 months. I haven't worn it until today, and I broke down and wore it today because it was supposed to come
We
out
may
on
never
January
get this movie.
28th. But at this point, yeah, we may never get it. So late last night, after we had already put together the notes for the show and stuff, it was announced that this is now moving to April 1st, 2022, due to the newest concerns over the new pandemic variant. And for the record, for anybody who's counting, because I had to look this up, this is the seventh time this movie has been pushed off. The original release date was July 10th, 2020. Then it was July 31st, 2020. Okay, you moved it probably for another movie or for some last minute edits. Then it moved to March 19th for 2021. Then it was October 8th, 2021. Then it was January 21st this year. Then it was January 28th this year, and now it's April 1st.
Yeah.
Now all the delays they have listed as being due to the pandemic, I really don't believe some of those. The ones that are 1 or 2 weeks apart is because they didn't want to compete with another movie or because they needed to last minute edit something. But come on.
Up to 3 times you can say pandemic, not wanting to compete with this particular product because you feel like, okay, we're smart enough to know our audience is going to go there. But when you have to delay a movie 7 times, there's serious issues with this movie, whether it be the cast, the story, or things just aren't turning out the way you truly hoped it is. Because how many times have you seen a trailer that looks amazing, you get there and realize everything amazing was in that 3 minute trailer?
Yeah.
I could feel Monster's soul screaming last night as I sent him the news.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, when this movie first broke, it was being made, I had low expectations. The more I saw of it, the higher my expectations got. I was actually to the point I was like, I'm ready to actually go watch this now, especially after watching Spider-Man No Way Home and Venom 2. I was like, yeah, I want to see another Spider-Man character movie. I was hyped. Now, this ain't the same hype as a Spider-Man No Way Home, but I was excited to see it. And now you've took that away from me. You've crushed my soul once again. I mean, not that there's much there anyway, but you took what little wit was left. But the only thing that I can say that I think that it has to do with the pandemic is honestly, I'm not even sure that they can say they don't think they're going to make the money off of it. And I get there's a rise in cases right now. Yesterday was record day or whatever, right? However, I think that they still would have made the same amount of money. I think that and I'm going to say this with just completely my subjective opinion, their entitled actor who is playing Morbius is probably fussing with the studio about you'll make more money if you wait, or I'm not going to back this if you don't wait until I say so, because I gotta say, Sony just made $1 billion plus on a movie.
It's the
Why would
perfect
you wait?
time for anything within a Spider-Man franchise to try.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
promise you, Venom wish they had their part 3 ready to roll right now, or they would have been able
Oh
to
yeah,
hold off on Let There Be Carnage until after No Way Home. I mean, because it would skyrocket. It would do big business. Because, I
yeah,
mean, a couple years ago, Morbius was announced before the Marvel Cinematic Universe started getting their hands in with the Sony products, because, even though they had Spider-Man, they wasn't really having much to do with the Sony things. And you could tell by Venom 1.
right.
You could tell that their hands was in the cookie jar in Venom 2. You can tell that with Morbius, they're trying to help these people get, their properties where they need to be. So once I seen that they had their hands in the cookie jar, so to speak, I was like, okay, I can get behind this. And I like Morbius as a character.
Oh yeah,
I loved him in Midnight Suns. I have the first appearance of Morbius signed by Stan Lee. So it's not that I don't want this movie to do well. I'd love to it, but I'll be the first to admit there's something wrong that they're not sharing, and they know that
yeah.
beyond week 1, that movie's gonna nosedive.
See, I would like to see it do well. I was actually thinking, maybe this will be the sleeper superhero hit of the year, or the one that everybody really enjoys. That nobody really expected to. But again, I don't know if it's something wrong with the film or if it's the actor. Because I'm going to say, and again, this is just my opinion of him, but after the way that you read about how he acted and the things he did on set for Suicide Squad when he was in there as the Joker, and his demeanor to get into his method acting, I just could care less about this actor. And it's not that I don't want his movie to do well, because I just like the movie. I want to see the movie do well. I just don't care about him. So I don't know if it's him being part of this, or if the movie has just got something that badly broken and wrong with it.
We'll find out. I honestly, I think it's going to peak week 1 and then it plummets.
Well, that's kind of the formula for most of the movies right now, though, right? Throughout the pandemic, or even somewhat before, you got a lot of these that don't have staying power. Even Venom really didn't. After 2 weeks, Venom was all right. It's off the rails and off the charts at this point for everything else new.
And I enjoy Venom 2. It doesn't have a lot of rewatch factor.
No, no,
6 months from now, I could rewatch it again and probably enjoy it. I wouldn't want to, like with Spider-Man, where I watch it just a few days apart.
yeah, I couldn't do that
I
with
couldn't
Venom.
do that. I couldn't do that with Venom. It
I,
took me a year before I rewatched Venom 1.
I don't see Morbius having that rewatch value either, but at the same time, I had more expectations for it than what I'm getting right now. Now my hopes are kind of way down on it.
They are dashed.
But we'll move on to the month of February, and the only film we've got listed in February was Uncharted, which is February 28th. I will check it out just because my son loves the video game and really wants to see it. Now I like a good adventure movie too, and it looks like it's more of an adventure than an action or anything else. And Tom Holland's in it, and I will give him. I don't follow a lot of actors and watch everything they're in, but he's one of those that he's got quite a few that I'll actually pick up and watch. So I'll probably check it out. I don't really have necessarily high expectations or hopes, but for a fun
It kind of
2 hour
reminded me
getaway,
of
I'm all
National
right.
Treasure in the preview I saw.
Yeah, but I'm
That's
looking.
the vibe I got out of it. Was like, okay, this is buddy comedy National Treasure.
Yeah, and I'm all right with that because in the middle of February, and I've got nothing else listed for quite a while. Before that, especially now that Morbius has moved to April, I've had nothing for the first part of the year for that for the movies. I'm all right for that for a 2 hour escape of reality, right? But we do have something coming shortly behind that in March. The Batman coming out on March 4th. I'm gonna throw it over to you first on this one to get your expectations, input.
Low, very low. While the trailer looks like it's well put together, I worry a little bit about the direction of the movie and how much research the director actually done. I'm not sure. But when he's taking on high caliber bullets at close range, I
Yeah,
have a problem with that. Because even Batman, while he wears Kevlar, His suit, and I mean, it's one thing like they're shooting him and he pulls the cape up, and the cape. Okay, I can get behind that because he's got
If it's a heavy
special
Kevlar,
shielded.
it's going to take some movement and some momentum out of bullets. But you're talking handgun. This not 50 caliber machine gun
uh,
fire.
they're literally sitting there with high caliber automatic weapons firing upon him, and he's just walking down the hall like it ain't just unfazed like he's Superman.
like his first name is Clark. No.
Yeah, I mean, when I seen it, I was like, ooh, that's the little scene with the penguin looks interesting enough where, he's like, I got you, and he jumps through the fire in the Batmobile. Okay. I'm not a super big fan of the look of the Batmobile in this. It's probably more realistic than any Batmobile we've ever got in the past. Because it's basically just
That
a
was
Challenger they
probably
souped up, but
that was probably one of the few things I didn't have a problem with the Batmobile because this is supposed to be more of a year one. And in year one,
yeah.
he's probably not going to have that jet engine powered Batmobile we saw Michael Keaton with, right?
Well, I'm fine with it not looking ridiculous like those. I mean, it's iconic as those are. No, I'm wrong. I love Batman and Batman Returns. To the Burton verse or however you want to put it. Love it. It's not a very realistic car.
Oh no.
Usually in the books, after a certain amount of time, they were no longer realistic. I love the what's the cat that done the Batman movies with Christian Bale, Nolan.
Yeah.
I love his Batman. I love the way the Batmobile looks in that, but it's not realistic. I don't give a damn how much money you got. That's not a realistic looking vehicle.
You mean the Bat Tank? That wasn't a Batmobile.
Yeah.
That was a tank.
So, I mean, I'm all for a more realistic looking car, but it's at the same time, it's got I don't know, there's just something about it. Something between the spoiler on the rear and the nose of it. This is just a little for me, but
Yeah.
it's cool enough. I'm trying to remain optimistic and go into this and not let the twinkling vampire sway me from wanting to watch this movie.
So, so, so let me put my 2 cents on that because since you brought that part up, and it's not the actor himself that I have a problem with being Batman. My problem is, I guess, the elephant in the room before, because we're going to have some more DC movies later, but the elephant in the room with DC. What are you doing? What's your plan? Is the DCEU that you started with the Snyderverse still intact? Because half the movies and shows you got announced tie into that and have the characters and actors from that. And now you're announcing new projects that don't have any of them, or you're saying, well, this person's not going to play this person anymore. Henry Cavill is not coming back as Superman. Okay, if you recast somebody, that's one thing. If it's the same Superman, but like with this Batman, this is not the same Bruce Wayne. Even though it's a year one, this is not the same Bruce Wayne as it is in the Snyderverse Batman. They've already pointed that out.
They're continuously contradicting themselves on all of this because
Yeah.
The
So
Rock and Black Adam, he is saying that he has no doubt in his mind that him and Henry Cavill is going to go nose to nose as Black Adam and Superman at some point. He's pretty much confirmed it's going to happen. It's just a
right,
matter of when. So okay, and
but
Ezra
this
Miller has said that his movie is not doing away with the Snyderverse. It's not
but
wiping it out.
but you hear all them saying that, but you don't hear the studio saying that, and the studio is fronting the money for all this. So at what
But
point are
this
they
is
going to
true.
say we're paying for it, so we're going to do it our way? These are all now. Are you trying to build a cohesive universe to compete with Marvel, or are you not? Just tell us which way you're going, so I can decide. Okay, I can enjoy the movie this way, or do I need to say, well, why can I enjoy it this way because it doesn't tie into the other stuff
But
you're
much
making?
like their books, they're more into we can just tell a story. It doesn't have to tie into the other stuff.
Yeah,
I think they're just doing far. It's like, man,
if you're going to do that, that's fine, but say that. If you're not, if you're going to still put out stuff that says, okay, Aquaman 2, which is later down on this list, it's still in the same universe as you were before. So at what point do you say, okay, well, no, it's not, or it is? It's confusing to me as a fan to say, okay, what fits here? And that's why I don't have any expectation for this Batman, because I see him put more effort into some of the other stuff, and I think there's some other things we'll talk about later when we get to some of these other movies that I've also heard comments of, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not too sure that I agree with that as
I'd
a
rather an
fan
executive
standpoint.
at Warner Brothers just come forth and say, hey, look, while Marvel is, got, a gold mine over here with their shared universe, we're not doing that with our properties. We want to set ourselves apart from them. We are going to tell stories that we want to tell within
Exactly.
this movie, 2 hour span. And it's not going to tie into another 2 hour span somewhere else. Because then you go into it and you say, okay, this is
Exactly. I just want to
Earth
know how
4
I'm looking at
or
it.
Earth 6 or Earth whatever, but
And I'm fine with that. If I know up front, that's how I got to look at it. But at this point, I don't care about the Batman movie because the rest of the movies you got listed this year are still in the Snyderverse, and I'm more interested in that than I am the standalone. Now, if all those are standalone, tell me, and I might gain some more interest for Batman. That's my point.